Hi everyone, my name is Utkar Shekhar, and today I'm going to be sharing you my experience and how I got star rank at the age of 13. This is the guide on how you can get star, life, maybe eagle, and beyond at the age of 13, lower or above, while not putting in too much effort, rigor, but just discipline. Before I start, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Utkar Shekhar. I am 13. I live in New Jersey, and I've been a part of my troupe for the past couple of years. And through that, I've gotten a bunch of valuable experiences and resources that through which I got star rank. I'm almost life, and soon will be eagle. And I've gotten it so fast at the age of 13 with 29 merit badges. Of course, having this many merit badges under my belt and such a big rank at this young of an age surprises many people, sometimes even my scoutmaster. But it happened through a strategic plan, not through hard work, not through, I'm not going to say hard work, but not through a lot of rigor and a lot of tension and a lot of, sitting down on the laptop and doing it all in a day and rushing it all before the meeting. It happened through a continuous timeline which I laid out in front of me one day and followed it for days after. So here's the first point I'm going to be sharing with you. Master the basics early. I got my scout rank in my first week of scouting. I went to the meeting, I went to adult leader, we had some free time, patrol corners, so I asked, can I get some requirements done? And I had it all under my belt. But the question is, how? So, as you see, when I got initiated and joined the troop, I got my scout book. Now, this meant a lot to me. As you can see, it's pretty worn over time. But I went through that thing so fast. I skipped through the whole book, jotted a bunch of things down, memorized everything. But that didn't do me any good. I went through it again and again and again throughout the week. It was like reading a novel, like a fiction novel, something like that. I went through it so many times, I can't even remember. And all of that stuff got integrated into my brain. Of course, now that I think back, I haven't used all of the things, but I would say it was a valuable resource. Now, why is this important, you might ask? So, this enabled my thinking. I thought if I can get scout rank that fast, why can't I get the rest? So, I sat down with my laptop and my trusty diary and pen and I planned it all down. I wrote down what went well on campouts, meetings, service projects, things like that, and I wrote down every single little bit of experience. Now, this thing isn't very valuable. I mean, it is valuable, but it isn't very, you know, my hand kind of hurts after writing, and it's not very efficient. So that's why we have the laptop, and through the laptop, I can print papers in which the papers I keep inside of this binder. This is my activity logbook where I keep all of my experiences. It has my ranks, my merit badges, it has my trips, service projects, my hikes, my my badges I earned, when I went to West Point, all those pins and all of the patches, that I traded so far. It has everything. It was really simple, I spent some money, like, maybe $10, some investment from my parents, which is worth it. And they bought me a baseball collector sheet and some a covering for my papers, and I put all of them together and I put my name at the front, and bam, I just type something on my laptop right after the trip up. I print it out and I pop it into the sleeve. It's as simple as that. Of course, it might take you some time to get used to it, the process. You might even forget. But it's really satisfying at the end. At the end of the week, you might go back to it and say, "Wow, I've had so many trips," and I can just quickly read through it. It's like almost like a photo collection book or like a memory book. Just look through it and reflect on the past memories. But it's not just about that. Let's go back to the point. It's about going through your path of towards Eagle, of course. When you go to your board review, they're gonna ask for this binder. They're gonna ask you questions, and this comes really handy. They're gonna look through it, and of course, they're gonna be impressed. But most importantly, it helps you. It's your secret tool, along with many others that I'm gonna discuss throughout this podcast on how you can achieve Eagle. This is your insight tool on what you did and exactly what you did. When you type what you did on that trip, it's fresh to your memory. So you know exactly what went how, if it went well, how it went. So if they ask you a question that other scouts might not know about, you can quickly just tell them. Just go through it and read it. Because when you come back from a trip or a service project, you know what went well, fresh in your mind. So you can just write that down. And the next point I want to talk about is doubling up ranks. By this, I don't mean putting a bunch of requirements together, going to a meeting, and just giving them out to your adult leaders, and giving them a hard time, giving them stress and all that. It's not about that. It's about planning it out. As I said, connecting back to my points, write down the requirements you have under your belt. So let's say you went to a camping trip and you made a fire, and you went on a hike. Write down in your notebook, I went on a hike, put it into my journal, or log it into my scout book and get it signed, or use it for this merit badge and tell my counselor. Things like that. It's as simple as that. It's not about, remembering what you did on a past trip and, thinking, did I go on this hike? How long was that hike? Just get it done when you have to do it. Now, I'm not going to repeat myself, so I'm just going to move on. So, some of these requirements that you have in your scout book are pretty simple. And when I say simple, I don't mean that you just, search it up on Google. It's about having some experience as well as you can use Google. I'm not saying you can't. You can search some things up. But you also have to learn them on the way. So maybe for second class, they ask you to tie some knots, and you go on a camping trip and they're doing lashings. So you can use those lashings and you can apply your knots to them, and that way you can not only get your knots requirement in second class, but you can also get a lashings requirement which you have in first class. Now, if you go to a trip where they're practicing first aid, go through your scout book and say, for second class, tenderfoot, and first class, I have first aid requirements. Why not tell the scouts, hey, let's do all of these first aid scenarios and get all of these done? It's as simple as that. Just ask them, and they might even help you. Um, the second point I would like to tell you guys is understanding the troop. You won't feel home in your troop, or you won't understand scouting if you don't know your troop. You can't learn from someone who you don't know about, or you can't learn properly until you know about it. So understand your troop, make a few friends, interact with your scoutmaster, interact with your SPL, your patrol leader. They're there for a reason, to help you on your way. So get to know them, and as you get to know them, maybe get leadership positions. So that brings me to my next point and my third point. Get leadership positions. Leadership is a crucial part of scouting, and it's not just about going to an election and saying, I'm SPL, I want to be SPL, give me this role and I do all of this, and just not do whatever you promised. It's about coming planned, having a list of what you're going to do, maybe write it down, giving a speech about it, telling people what you're going to do, then get it done. Use planning. That's what I always say. Plan it out. Plan what you're going to do for your troop, if you're for your patrol. And maybe if you're not a small position, every position matters. But maybe if you're some other position in your patrol, like librarian, patrol quartermaster, jot it all down. After a trip, write down the pots and utensils that need replacing. Ask your treasurer for money to buy something new. And, get it done. You should fulfill what you say you're gonna do. That's what makes you a trustworthy scout. Go back and follow the scout oath and law. That's why they're there. You should always remember them. That brings me to my next point and my fourth point. It isn't a rush, it's about your pace. Now, many people learn fast, many people learn slow, but this is a guide for everyone. This is the simplest guide I can give you, and it might work differently for you. Your plan might not work well, but you should learn how to adapt to it. You might go on a camping trip to get 5 requirements done, but you might only get 4. That's completely fine. It's not the end of the world. Just get it done later. You're not planning to get Eagle by the time you're 12 or like next week. You can get it done. Just follow your path and you'll get it done. If you made a plan, just imagine it's going to work out, and it will work out. If it doesn't, then you can always change it. So everyone has a different path, and you don't want to feel too stressed if your friend is already Eagle and you're Scout. You never know. Maybe that person had a better experience. Maybe they joined at a time when the troop had more time to do patrol corners or more camping trips. Maybe you're just a scout that learns more deeply. Maybe that person didn't learn their concepts properly. It's different for everyone. That brings me to my next point, which is discipline over motivation. As you go through your scouting journey, you might start to lose some interest or focus, and that's completely fine. I understand. When you go on your first camping trip, it's amazing, those tents set up, you open your freshly bought camping gear, you smell that store scent, and it's all brand new. And then as you go on, your last camping trip might be your worn up gear, everything's ripped. I hope it doesn't happen. Make sure your gear's up to date. But everything old, it's all the same scout, same food, you've tasted it all before, so maybe even same campsite. It's not that exciting. But trust me, it's about discipline. 10 minutes every day, that's what I tell myself, that's my rule. Spend 30 minutes on the weekend. Maybe even not on the weekend, maybe after school you might have some free time. Don't spend it to goof off. Use it for something valuable, maybe scout. Plan it all out and tell yourself every day I'm going to take 10 minutes to work on this task, and that task I will finish throughout the week and I'll get it done. Have targets set for yourself. Don't just have 10 minutes set every day. You should have a target. By the end of this month, this week, this meeting, I'll have this much done. And I'll email this person, get this done, get it back, all of that done. The next thing I wanted to talk about was you should review everything. It doesn't matter if you write it down in a binder, you put it in an app, you tell your parents, you tell your scoutmaster. They're not trustworthy. The most trustworthy person in this journey is you and only you. Review everything. Everything you've done, you have done, so you would know what you did best. It doesn't matter if you go to a board review and they look through it and they say it's amazing. Even after that, you should double check yourself. Go home and say, what could I have done better? Look through your binder, look through your advancement binder, look through it. Find a merit badge that might have been the wrong date. You never know. Everybody in the troops are human. Humans can make mistakes, but your job is to correct those mistakes. It's your journey. Everything should be done according to you. Of course, with some help. Um the last thing I wanted to say is that scouting is about a journey. It's not about, for your college application, or just showing off to other people. It's your scout. You have to follow the oath, the law, all of that. And in the end, this journey of becoming an eagle proves not only to others but to yourself morally that you've become a scout. Look at all of these wonderful qualities you've developed. Look at this wonderful person you've become. You're a scout. You can use these qualities. The next time you go on a family camp out, show them what you know. Set up a tent. It's amazing. I love giving back to my troop. They've giving me so much, and they've brought me this far, and I want to give it back to them. Those scouts who took their time in the beginning of my journey to step aside, teach me a requirement on a camping trip to set up my gear. I love that, and I want to give it back to the other scouts, newer scouts who joined this troop. They're the same as you. You never know. They might be struggling. They might be sad. Maybe anxious. Just treat them like you wanted someone to treat you when you joined the troop. Give back. Be a true scout. Reaching star also frees up time. A high schooler might not have the same time as you in middle school or earlier grades to finish these rank requirements. Most scouts join BSA scouts when they're in middle school, and they end when they're 18 or about to go to college. Of course, there's a split in this journey. The split is in the middle between 8th grade and 9th grade, or whenever you go to high school. When you go to high school, you're caught up with, um, GPAs, college, SATs, all of that. These tests, they get really overwhelming. And you can't put in the same time. Enjoy it. When you're in middle school, get it all done. You come back from school, you don't have the same homework as those poor fellow scouts who have to go to meetings, come back home, study, and go. I'm not saying it's the same for you. You might be very good academically, but most of the time, you should get it done early so you have time rest of the time to enjoy it. As a high schooler, you might come home from a long day at school, spend a lot of time in homework, then sit down and say, wow, I spent so much time when I was younger to do scouting things, and now I can sit back, give back to my troop, and lead everyone and teach them what I've learned and just enjoy the process. Now I just don't have to worry about skills. I can just review them, I can learn them properly. So that's it, guys. As I wrap it up, just wanted to ask you guys if you want, drop a comment about anything you want. Email me, ask questions. I would be very happy to help you guys. Share what went well with you guys. Tell me if I said anything wrong, if you liked what I said. And that's all. Bye. I hope you do good.